Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Velasquez Vlog Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Velasquez.
And I'm your co host, Anne Marie Torres.
Before I start today's vlog, you know the drill. We gotta thank certain individuals because without them, we won't have the liberties we have today. First and foremost, I want to thank my police officers, fighter fighters, veterans, active duty and reserve military members, FBI, CIA, DEA, ATF, and special ops, whatever they might be. But also, I want to thank our healthcare workers and our teachers. And I know parents, they're going through this as well. But healthcare workers and teachers right now, they're doing everything they can to make sure that our kids are getting the best education possible, even if it's not perfect. So, no further ado, let's move into today's topic. Today, we're gonna talk about housing. What is housing? You know what housing is. If you own an apartment, you own a house, or you live in a house, or you live in an apartment, you know what housing is. Even if you think you don't know, you know something, okay? So today we're gonna talk about the pros and cons of renting. We're gonna talk about the pros and cons of housing. We're gonna talk about your credit, and we're gonna talk about your job, okay? And I'm gonna do my best, Anne Marie, not to put anyone on the spot, okay?
All right.
And there are people gonna get mad sometimes when I say certain things, but you know what? This is why we're here,
That's all right. I'll put
we're
him
not
on
here
the spot.
we're not here to put him on the spotlight, but we're here to clear things out because some people are not aware of the things that happen around us. So let's go ahead, Anne Marie, and tell me, when it comes to housing, have you ever considered owning a house, or have you ever owned an apartment?
Okay. For that, well, I can say that now we own a house. Right. Just recently, a few months back, we did get into a house, and my credit is horrible. So,
Okay.
we never thought that we were going to be able to do it, but I can honestly say that's probably one of the best decisions we've made. We were renting for a very long time, and I honestly can say that renting, I feel like we weren't going anywhere renting. So I'm actually really excited that we got a house.
When you first rented an apartment, was it difficult to get approved to live in an apartment?
My very first apartment wasn't difficult because I didn't have any rental history credit established. But over the years, I mean, we're talking maybe close to 8-9 years renting different apartments. And then anyone that knows me knows that I've moved from Texas to Florida, back to Texas. I've been kind of back and forth, so kind of getting approved kind of started getting difficult because of my change of jobs.
Okay.
So,
Have you ever tried to get a house on your own before? On your own, let's say nobody else. Let's say, you know what, Anne Marie decides, oh, you know what, I don't want to live in an apartment anymore. I want a house. Have you ever?
I actually have, but my credit is very bad, like I said. So because of that, I actually didn't move forward. I didn't know anyone that would really help me raise my credit at that point. So I kind of just put it off and kept renting until now that we kind of now we bought a house, and I pretty much used my name for the land and he used his name for the house. So we can kind of get everything together because my credit wasn't good enough for that. And the stability of the job too, because of my health going up and down. So
It's amazing how a lot of us face many different obstacles. For example, anyone that wants a house or an apartment, they're always gonna face this challenge. For example, like if you want to get an apartment, it might be easier than getting a house. But then again, the requirements that you meet for an apartment, another person might not meet those requirements.
that's
right?
very true.
For example, you talked about rental history. This is my first time hearing about this. I didn't know there was such a thing of rental history. I thought it was just have a job, have some money in the bank. I don't even know if you needed to have a credit to actually qualify for an application for an apartment. So
There's actually different ways to be approved for an apartment. There's, for instance, one of them was credit. Any ones that required good credit, I was not even looking at. There's others that they do. That's why they charge the application fee. They actually run your background credit for rental. So it's not your actual credit score. It's, okay, where have they rented before? Have they actually kept on time with paying? their rent or if they have any broken leases. Now, if you have a broken lease, it's a lot harder to get into an apartment, and if they do accept you, usually they charge you more up front before you can actually get in.
So they charge more. I mean, you guys don't get into the actual numbers like interest gonna go up or things like that. Just your fee just goes up, right?
Your
rent
fee goes up. Like they can actually, instead of like, let's say, throw ballpark a $900 apartment for a single person. If it's $900, they may charge you 3 times that if you have a broken lease just to get in. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not, or they may have a deal for someone that like you pay half month rent or you pay $200 rent for the first month. Instead of paying that, you're paying that plus the full price plus an extra month, just because they need to know that if this person leaves, we have some money to keep in the bank to fix whatever we need to fix. So.
Okay, yeah. I never own an apartment. Usually, I don't know if I can say I was lucky or maybe privileged or whatever. But when I got out of the military, I lived with my mother. I paid her rent for the time being. I had to work and go to school. I think I was planning on getting a house, but what happened was that as soon as I got married and stuff, that's when I decided to start looking for a house because I wanted my own privacy, I guess, in a way.
Your own place. I mean, you have a family, so you kind of wanted to start new for you.
Yeah, and I didn't want the renting apartment because I was tired of moving. When I was in the military, I was moving all the time, and I had to move all my and I just said, you know what, I'm tired of moving. I probably moved like 6-7 times in the military.
That's probably the worst.
So I got tired of traveling. When people say, "Oh, I want to travel," I can't wait to travel the world. I'm like the opposite. I don't want to travel the world. But that's because of my
your background
and my experiences, right? My experiences were not for and giggles. It was not for pleasure. It was for because of work, and especially in the military, where there's a lot of restrictions to us, right? But of course, hopefully one day that mentality goes away and I can actually travel the world for pleasure, right? But I said I want to get a house and I want to be stable, and I did.
Okay.
So here we are right now, as a matter of fact, and we're about to sell this house. This is my first house, and we're gonna get another one. But there are just so many challenges, Anne-Marie. When I got my first house, you have no idea with how many people we had to compete. First, we have no money for down payment, so thankfully we were using the VA benefit, the VA loan. As veterans, we use the VA loan for those type of housing benefits. But even then, it was really hard because we have the benefit, but it's up to the seller to accept it.
That's true.
So the sellers, most times, they rather get a cash offer than a VA loan, because a VA loan, when somebody offers you a cash offer, you know you're gonna get that money for sure.
Cash talks.
Exactly. And not just that, but also whenever you have to go through a loan process, anything can go wrong. For example, I noticed right now with the economy the way it is right now, people have got pre-approved, but when it's time to closing, they lost that. They lost that pre-approval.
Yep.
Because they lost their work, something went wrong economically, and now they lost the opportunity to get the house. So another person that qualifies for a home loan and for the house comes and buys their house. So that was one of my fears that I had in this whole process of selling my house and getting this other house. Thankfully, hopefully, I closed the home next week. So
well, congrats early.
Exactly. But it was tough because selling the house right now is gonna cost me $20,000 just to sell it. So if I put it at 175, and then I don't want to say down, but they negotiated to 170. That's 20 less. So we're talking about 150. Okay. So I'm getting 150. I'm not getting 170. So that's the downside about selling. As being a seller, there are ways, of course, to sell to save money and stuff. But whenever you trying to get another house using the VA loan, and you already have a VA loan with your prior house, it becomes really hard because the banks are like, wait a minute, we need to sell this house first before we approve him for this. Because at the same time, the challenge that I have is money. I'm not making enough money to have 2 houses at the same time. So I have to eliminate debt in order for me to qualify for other things. So I think, in my opinion, qualifying for a house is tougher than qualifying for an apartment.
Oh, definitely. I can agree to that too. And honestly, a lot of people, I think, stick to apartments because they think it's cheaper than actually paying for a house. But I've actually known people that pay $600, $700, sometimes $800 in mortgage in a home, and people are paying $1,200 for an apartment. For instance, we used to pay close to $1,300 on a third floor apartment, and we're not paying much more than that for our house, and we got our own land. So I feel like it is more difficult to get a house, but once you get to that point, I think it's so much better once you have a house, because in the end of the day, it's going to be yours. You'll still pay taxes, but it's still yours. It's something that you know you're gonna go home. You can kind of make, well, it depends too, because there's some associations, homeowner associations, like the area where you can't put a rock in the front because you'll get a fine for it, which I know a lot of places here in Texas do that. But other than that, if you have permissions to build whatever you want to build, I think it's so much better than having an apartment. I mean, in an apartment, you'll never know what neighbors you have upstairs or downstairs. If they're noisy, if they're smokers and you don't like smoking, and you just never know who's going to be next to you.
For the people that want to get their first home and they can't afford a house, so they have to get an apartment, what do you recommend them to do?
Well, there are different companies and things that actually help with situations like that. For instance, I did mention my credit was really horrible. If you can't afford a house or you can't because of your credit, either save up a lot of money, just maintain a really stable job for a good amount of time, and make sure that you save up enough money for a home eventually, if you plan on staying in that area, of course. You don't want to buy a house somewhere where you plan on moving from a year or two, because houses take many, many years to pay off. So the bigger the down, the better, the lower your payments will be monthly. But if you want to get into a house, instead of paying monthly rent in an apartment, for instance, what we did was, my credit wasn't so great, but if you don't have great credit, you can go through other companies. For instance, my father, he actually sells manufactured homes. And he kind of told us, you have to have a credit score between this and this, and you have to have pretty much a job for 2 to 3 years, like taxes that you've actually paid for 2 to 3 years, where they can see their stability throughout that time, that you're not going to get into a house and all of a sudden you're going to stop paying because you don't have a job anymore. And then on top of that, to get the land where we were going to place the home, that company actually works with people without checking anyone's credit. So you just have to have whatever down they ask for, which isn't much right now, because right now they're trying to sell land. And then you pay a higher interest, so you're paying more monthly, but at the end of the day, you're able to pay over the certain amount of years, even though you're paying a little bit more, but it's your own home. So I think either you save up a lot of money to put it down, or if you want to get into a house, just know that you'll be paying more money throughout a certain amount of years rather than upfront. So
there's one thing, there's a topic that we talked about. It's called urban psychology, urban sociology, something like that, when I went to school. Mm-hmm. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I think that for the people that want to get a home, I think they need to start building credit. Mm-hmm. You mentioned a good thing: keep your job as long as possible. Mm-hmm. These guys look at everything. Okay. If you work at McDonald's versus you work at Apple, they really don't care where you work. Okay, mm-hmm. I'm gonna let you know right now. What they care about is consistency. Let's say that you work for 2 years in McDonald's, you work for 2 years in Burger King, and then you work for 2 years at Taco Bell. As long as you are consistent in the same field, that's what they care about. If mm-hmm. you go to school for food and service management, all your work in that school is considered as employment. Mm-hmm. So for the people that want to get a house, take care of start building credit by, I don't want to say go and get in debt with a $30,000 car. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is start with little things, little credit cards, furniture.
Only if you're going to pay them off.
Things that you can pay off. Exactly. Yeah. Things that you can pay off that you can handle. Mm-hmm. Because if you're working at McDonald's and you're trying to get a $30,000 car and you're an 18-year-old, I'm going to let you know right now, life is not it's not fantasy, okay? Things get tougher as you get older. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to put no gender roles here, okay, at all. But what I'm saying is, no matter if you're a woman or a man, life will hit you hard when you least expect it. Mm-hmm. But this is my recommendation. Let's forget about how life is gonna hit you. It's what you need to do. Do your part. You do your part. I think that you will be fine even when life hits you,
Mm-hmm.
because you did what you're supposed to do together. Life didn't want it to happen at that moment. You can't say that it's life's fault, it's God's fault. You did your part in life.
Mm-hmm.
Things will happen before you expect them.
You fall,
Okay,
you get
but
back
you
up.
if you do your part, guess what? You don't have to start all over. That's what I'm trying to say. That you continue where you left off because you already worked for something. When you work for your credit, when you work at a job and you have consistency on both, when it comes to getting a house, they're gonna consider that. Don't try to jump every 6 months from job to job, because when they see that, they're like, hell no, we can't trust this guy with a loan because he can be out of work for we don't know how long because he's not consistent. I had that problem when I first got my first house. If it wasn't because of the VA, I don't think I would have got approved.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that I wasn't making money, it's because I kept moving around and I was going back to school, going back to work, going back to school and going back to work, and it was totally different. Sociology versus security versus selling stuff, it was not the same. So they could not consider my education as part of employment. So that's what I'm saying for the people that want to get a house right now. Consistency on those two things: work and credit. Build your credit up. So whenever it's time to apply for a house, your credit is built to a certain level. And if you can handle a car responsibility, because car responsibilities, they'll spike your credit up. If you can handle it, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure it's a car that you can afford to pay in a certain amount of time. Let's say, you know what, for example, before I let this go, get a car when you're 18. You get a car, pay it by 23. That's 5 years, right? When you're 23, you want to get a house. I promise you that as soon as you pay off that car, that credit's gonna go up, and it's gonna help you get the house. Okay? But during those 5 years, you can get furniture, you can get credit cards, and the car at the same time, because they're little fees. But it's the car that you have to look out for, because if you can't afford paying for a car and you return it, that's gonna reflect negative on your credit. Okay?
And I'm more than positive if you can't afford to keep up with the payments on a car, it's going to be hard to make the payments on a home.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things too is education. And we as Hispanics, we go through so much shit as we grow up, okay? When we're teenagers, when we and I'm not saying just Hispanics. I'm sure other cultures go through it as well. But because I'm Hispanic, it's where I've seen it, So every time I hit a topic and I talk about Hispanics, it's because of what I've seen and what I've been exposed to. It's not because I don't think it happens in other cultures, right? But I noticed that when we're young, we make mistakes, like we leave the home too early, prematurely, and we have no education. We don't have a job, and we just want to be independent so fast because we don't want to be told what to do. And when you do that, I don't know how it happens with women when they do that, but I think women have it harder than men when it comes to these things, because it all makes sense if you think about it. If a woman gets pregnant, okay, at 18, 19 years old, and they want to work, and they want to get an apartment, it's gonna become harder because the men can just take off anytime, and they can just leave you with the responsibility, and you have to figure it out. Okay, now as a man, they leave, they work, it's all me. It's just me. I'm just gonna pay my bills. I don't have kids to take care of, right? And so that's what can happen. I'm not saying it happens to everyone, but that's what can happen. And according to the studies that we did in college, women have the possibility of getting kicked out of an apartment or of a house than men do.
The higher
So it's higher for women to get kicked out because they can't pay their rent, because they can't manage a job, because they got kids and get all these financial responsibilities.
I mean, you have
What
to
do you
keep
think
in
about
mind
that?
right now, for instance, like you're expecting a baby. A baby is coming right now. So if you think about it this way, if it was, for instance, someone that you knew that was pregnant, or your sister, whatever, whoever you know that is pregnant, and let's say the dad decides to leave, the mom may end up so stressed out or have a high risk pregnancy where they might send her to be at home, bed rest. If she's bed rest, she can't really work much. I mean, there are stay at home jobs, but not everyone can get approved for those. And if you don't have the funds and the economic stability to be able to afford a good running internet and computer and all this stuff, it's going to be hard. Not only for pregnant women, I think just in general, women alone, it's a lot harder to, um, I guess, not pay things, but to be able to maintain an apartment without anything going wrong in between, because women like to take care of everyone else. Not all of them, but a lot of them like to take care of everyone else, and then a lot of times we forget to take care of ourselves, and then our stuff gets behind, and then it's kind of. But I think it goes both ways, because if you have a single father, you have a father or guy that, I mean, he doesn't have any kids, it could be very hard for him too, because sometimes the youngsters, sometimes they like to jump from place to place, and they think, oh, I got my own place, and then they think, oh, I can go and party and I can keep my job. But if you're showing up to your job either drunk or late, or you're missing work just because you feel like, you know what, I thought it was better to go out and hang out with my friends rather than go to work, that's also a good way for you to get kicked out.
Tell people, from the moment you are born, everything becomes a competition. You don't have to look at life like that. That's why I'm here to remind you. But what I'm saying is that life ain't easy. And I think it has to do with a cultural thing when it comes to a woman being evicted. It's called eviction, right?
Yeah,
Like eviction?
yeah.
Yeah. So when you get evicted out of your home, out of your apartment, and the statistics tells you that women, it happens more to women than men. There are reasons why. Being a single mother ain't easy, and being a single mother, you still have physical and biological needs. You still want attention from a male. You still need to take care of your kids. You still need to take care of the bills, and you still need to work, right? So I think that's why I mentioned that women have it tougher. In case when it comes to men, just as if they want to leave and leave their family behind, or leave their girlfriend or lover, or not even an official wife, they can just leave them at any day. Guess who takes care of that responsibility? It's the woman. You know. It's weird when it happens to men. For example, it happened to me, but that's because that was a choice I made. You know, I decided to fight for custody of my child, and I had to decide: is my child, or is a job that was gonna pay me at $70,000 a year?
Okay.
And I decided to take custody of my child and be there for her. But that was my decision. But not everyone makes those kind of decisions. So for the general part of overall, women actually go through those problems that a lot of men don't go through. And a lot of men are gonna be, well, I did it, and that's true. Some of us can do it, but not all of us do it.
And honestly, I've seen it happen to both men and women. But like you did mention, also things that are out of your control, whether you're a man or a woman, sometimes health comes into play. Or let's say you're busy taking care of your parents or family members that are sick, or you yourself have an issue. For instance, if I put myself in this place, that's kind of why I've jumped from apartment to apartment to apartment over so many years, because sometimes rent would just get too high for me, because I would end up unable to work for a certain amount of time because I'd end up in the hospital. So my RA used to cause so many issues that's kind of why my credit is so low as well. That's also another reason why I can't get a house on my own unless I save more money down. If you had cash, they would give it to you in a heartbeat. But because you have to ask for a high loan in order to get a home, if you don't have any cash to put down, that's an issue. So my health has always portrayed a huge part in whether I rent or I own a home. So that was a really good point, because like you said, it's a competition. A lot of jobs that I wish and I always want to do and go and move forward to do, sometimes I jump into something and I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome, I'm good for 2-3 weeks or a month, sometimes even 2 months, and all of a sudden I'm in the hospital again because my body just can't take that much. So yeah, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you know, and life is it's not just whenever you want to do certain things. Like, for example, like I know people that can manage to do a lot of things and they have nothing wrong with them. But then you have people that have these challenges, physical, medical challenges, that they want to do what these guys can do, but they can't. Because, you know, life is just that way. You know, your health just doesn't allow you to move at that pace, at that intensity, and it sucks. You know, I think that whether you're a man or a woman, if you're 18 right now, 20, 21, and you haven't done any mistakes such as leaving women pregnant, or you're a woman and you haven't become pregnant, I think you need to do things where it doesn't get you there at this age, because this is the perfect age to hustle. Okay, go ahead and hustle, stay out of trouble, know who you're dating, know who you want to marry, know who you're messing around with, because if these people are not going to be there for the long haul, you need to start noticing the red flags. And you're young right now. It's all about being independent, being by myself, nobody telling me what to do. I get it, you want to be free, but if you think that right now you have the freedom to do what you want, and it's not gonna come and bite you in the ass later if you don't make the right choices, it's gonna come and bite you in the ass later. And I'm gonna let you know right now that that freedom that you want is gonna be taken away, not by the law, not by Uncle Sam, but by life. You're gonna have kids, and then you're tied. You're gonna have you're gonna have shackles, and it's gonna be hard to navigate the world. Okay, so I'm not. It's beautiful having a family. It's beautiful having a home, a car, a stable life. But you can't. We all make mistakes. I made these fucking mistakes.
And it
Okay.
doesn't happen for everyone the same, because there's some people that have an amazing life and they're stable. And for instance, my sister and my brother-in-law, I mean, they met very young. They got married at 18. They have 3 beautiful kids, and they're my everything. And they have a very stable life, and they've had their ups and downs. And recently my sister had that stroke that I told you about. But everything is getting better and better over time, and they're pretty much each other's rock. So when one isn't doing too good, the other one's helping out, and they're kind of they're the support. If you have that stable life, there's some people, they dream of this life and having a home from the moment they get out of high school. Some people have it. Other people, they may try to get it, they may lose it, they may end up in foreclosure and end up having the home of their dreams at the age of 50. I mean, everyone has a different pace. You can never compare yourself to anyone, I feel. But I do feel that there is a way for everyone to properly kind of, if you have that guidance, like for instance, now you're trying to let them know, hey, prepare ahead of time, save up, or at least maintain a steady job to be able to get what you want. Some people don't even want to live in a home, honestly, and others want to live the rest of their life.
I know somebody who would rather rent than own a home, and they have their reasons why. And if they listening and if they hear this, tell us why. Because I'm curious to know.
I actually know someone too that says they prefer to rent because they don't have to hire anyone to do maintenance. They're not the type of person that knows how to fix anything really, so they prefer to rent rather than, let me buy a house and then either learn how to fix everything or pay a bunch of money to have someone fix it. So there's a lot of different reasons. Some people don't know if they're planning on staying there forever. They're not ready to get into that house yet, or they don't have the money for it and they really don't take any further steps to find out how they can get into a home.
I think if you're single, your mentality is totally different.
Oh yeah.
But when you're with someone, okay, and you have kids and you have a family, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not making all the decisions. Okay, I'm gonna let you know right now, you're just not.
The ladies do. No, I'm just kidding.
Mama. But yeah, you're not making all the decisions, and as much as you want to be single forever, you just can't. As soon as you find somebody, be prepared to share that freedom. I don't want to say forget about your freedom. I don't want to say your freedom is gone and you're done, your privacy is done. But what I'm saying is that when you're not single, your mentality of how to live changes. Because now you're forming a home with two people. It's not just you now. And some men out there, I'm gonna let you know right now, if you're a woman and if you're a man and you're single, enjoy it as long as possible. But if you're a man, unfortunately, from my opinion, you have higher expectations in society, bro. So if the woman is gonna expect you to be on top of your financially and everything that comes with it. Because whenever you find that woman, she wants to make sure she's gonna be with somebody that's gonna take care of them. Oh, you said take care of them. I thought they were supposed to be independent. Yes, yes, they're gonna have the mentality of being independent. But guess what? We're living in a culture that man still has to provide and defend the female, and it sucks. I mean, it is what it is, but we still live in those times where like the man is still has to be the provider. You know, even though the woman wants to be the provider, they don't want to be the provider because there are women that want to be, and there are a lot of more women that don't want to be. But what do you think, Anne-Marie?
I feel the same way. I think a lot of women that are independent or have that mentality. For instance, I'm a very independent woman, despite all my health issues and the things that have thrown me on the floor a million times and gotten back up. I've always said if the guy that I'm with can't be stable, I mean, everyone has their moments. I mean, you might lose a job or something might happen, you might get sick. But if you can't, like, manage to have your things on check, like, you can't control economically, you can't be stable, I don't feel you should get into a relationship. Because I feel like if you're going to bring someone else into your life and you're bringing a woman into your life and she's independent and she can handle her bills, but then you can't handle your bills. I mean, everyone has their downfalls and everything, and it's hard for both sides, but I just feel like myself, and I've been in those relationships before where it's like I ended up being the provider, the one that did everything, and I won't do it again just because I feel like my health isn't always going to be the best. So
of course, but you know what, I think the first impression is the best impression. Have you ever heard about that? Yo creo de que when you meet a man for the first time, you wonder together, don't you? That's what you expect, right? Because if they don't have it, I'm sure it'll be a turnoff, right?
Oh, definitely. If you see that they can't handle anything, or they're asking everyone for gas money, or they're not showing up to work on time, or you see they don't have anything under control, you feel like if I jump into that,
So they're not gonna become, I don't want to say crush. They're not gonna be helpful. What I'm saying is they're gonna become the opposite. They're gonna become like they're gonna become like an extra baggage. More responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So if those are red flags that you see on your partner or your boyfriend or your fiance or your husband, you might want to look into that because those are red flags. That eventually things would turn upside down soon. Cue me. No, but for real, I think that. Wait, man, I lost my way of thought.
Oh no. Okay, so
can you believe that?
I know it happens to everyone, but no. At the end of the day, housing. If it's for you, if you want a house, save up. And if you know that your credit is really bad and it's gonna be a long time, and you really want a house, there are companies that do help with you getting a house. And if you have to pay higher interest, I mean, it's pretty much all around. Like I said, either you pay more up front to get what you want and lower payments, or you pay less up front but you're paying more interest for many more years. So
yeah, there was something we were talking about that we were getting into, and that was being on top of your head.
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah. So, for example, me as a guy, I would expect the same from a woman. So if I met you for the first time, man, I hope this woman has no kids, no baby daddy drama, that she has a stable job. So you don't become a bag. Well, me as a smart man, unfortunately, I'm a little smarter than average Joe when it comes to finding a woman. Because I don't want to find a woman that will want to drag me down instead of maintaining me there or help me get there. And also, I want to be part of your success as well as a woman. I want to be that man that's gonna help you get where you want to get as well. You don't. And it sucks. And this is the hard part about finding that person that's gonna help you be who you want to be, and vice versa. And these decisions and the people you meet will affect and reflect your finances at the end of the day. Even if you don't talk about it, even if we want to believe that money isn't everything, it's not about money isn't everything. This is about survival now. Forget about money. This is about financial really survival.
You can't. I mean, you have to work hard for whatever you want. And like you were mentioning that you would look for a woman that also is gonna bring you up too, not drag you down by not working and doing stuff like that. So like there are stay-at-homes and whatnot, but stay-at-homes, they are very hard workers. They just don't get paid for it. So as long as you both are like complementing each other and bringing each other, lifting each other up, moving forward in life, not taking one step forward and 3 steps back, you're good. As long as you're moving forward and you can both make each other better in life, I think that's the most important thing. I mean, sometimes you'll have your partner that'll let go of their dreams for a little bit of time just so you can move forward with your education, and then the other one gets a turn. So it's like you kind of have to weigh your odds. So once again, if we go back to the credit and the housing and all of that, I just think you have to prepare yourself for anything that you want in life. So
Yeah, but you know what? I think the most important part, besides, I hope that people that are listening right now, people that listen through the whole podcast or blog, I hope that they learn something here today, or at least they'll reflect on it. But the most important right now, at this very second, is this right here. I cannot stress it enough. And you know what? I can't stress it enough so much that I'm going to have Anne-Marie tell us what's going on with it. When I do this, what do we mean, Anne-Marie?
All right. So if you guys have been watching our post, I got mine with my name on it. Hold on. Let me turn it. And he spelled it right. A lot of people don't spell my name right. So
they got it right. Go get it right. Anyone can get it right. I'm just no, they're good. They're good. That's why I got them, okay?
All right. So these are super cute. So whether you drink Coke or not, these are cute collectibles. They'll have your name on it. What better than having like a trophy with your name on it? We are doing pretty much, it's a little competition. You guys comment below. We're going to put all of your names in a wheel, right? You put
what's
it in
the catch though? Because we make it sound easy, but it's really not. This is it's not the end of the world. It's not extremely difficult, but it's challenging. Can you tell us what the challenge is?
Well, you have to comment below. You do have to follow us, like us, and try to give input. The more that we see that you guys are commenting and kind of giving feedback, the better. You guys have a better chance. Comment on all of our posts, like them, share them, and if your name is up there and we see that you guys are interacting a lot with the vlog show, then you guys are probably going to get one of these.
All the love that she mentioned is necessary for our page, but but look, it's very simple, but it can be challenging for your ego, okay? This is what you do. All you got to do is go to the page, the Velasquez Vlog Show page. Go to it, like it, follow it, and comment in one of the videos that we post in this month's this month. Okay?
Yeah.
So once you do that, we see your name that you follow it. We see your name that you commented. You already sign up for the raffle. Okay? So that's all you gotta do, you know. And then the more you do it, the more chances you'll get to getting next month's raffle, the raffle after that. Now, you might be that lucky one that will win 2 in a row. You know. But hey, we appreciate the love. Okay. And you know what I'm thinking of doing too is I want to be the people that follow us. If they have a business and you want us to give you a shout out to your business, we're more than welcome to do it. You know, we're starting the show. We want to bring people into it, get into the topics and stuff. And the best way to support people is to do that as well. What do you think, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, I believe anyone in Houston or the surrounding areas, if you guys, let's say you have a hidden talent or you have a side business, or you're hustling from home and you want people around the area to know and give us a call, or if you have our numbers, if not, comment on our post.
Send us a DM.
Exactly.
DM. You know,
so comment like and if you have any ideas too for the Velasquez Vlog Show, if you have any ideas and you say, you know what, I would really like them to talk about this, comment below as well. Send us a DM as well. Either way, reach out to us. We won't know if you guys don't speak up. So
yeah, and you know what? We'll also have we did a topic. We did a Zoom call, a Zoom conference with a good friend, Steve Hockey, like Hockey Pocky.
Like
okay,
Pokey.
He we did a interview with him, and we pretty much talked about the real estate market, and we also asked him some questions about the real estate market and how to get started, how to take care of your credit. And you know what? He said a lot of things that I think that if you're into getting a house for the first time, or you're a veteran and you want to get your home now, or you want to get your second home or your third home. I think he also talked about commercial business properties as well. So I hope you guys watch that blog. I'm gonna post it on Facebook and YouTube as well. And this blog right here with me and Anne Marie, we're gonna have it on Spotify as well. So hopefully you guys follow us on Spotify, and then for those people that want to listen in the car or whatever while they're driving or while they're working, they can go ahead and just do it without watching the phone. So well, I think that's all we got today, guys. Thank you guys so much. And Anne Marie, do you have anything you would like to say to our audience before we go?
One last thing. I know we didn't mention it last time, but I did start a nonprofit organization in our new home on our land. We were able to gather some funds. The Facebook page is called Paws Love. So anyone that loves animals or would love to help, we are asking for any type of donations. The page, once again, it's Paws Love. We will add it below once we post everything, and you guys can follow the page. We are accepting donations, whether it's food, shampoo, things for ticks and fleas. If you guys want to come help out, if you work with a vet and want to come check out the dogs and cats and see if they're okay, we're accepting that as well. We managed to build a shelter for them with the funds that people have donated. So thank you so much for all of those who have donated. And if you guys can please go follow my page. If you guys can't donate, at least share and follow our page and kind of keep up with the progress of the animals that we've been helping. I think we've been helping about 12, 13 strays. So, and we have 3 in our home right now that are strays inside. So
how much more do you need? I'm just kidding.
No, I know, and we're trying to find them homes. So be on the lookout if you want a pet, if you want a dog or a cat. We do have many that we are posting right now that we are feeding and are currently indoors that are in need for a forever home. I can't even speak right now. So follow Paws Love as well, and make sure to comment, you guys, on the Velasquez Vlog Show so you guys can get your little photo.
Free Coke with your name on it. It's not just a Coke, okay? It's not just a Coke. It has your name on it.
It's so cute, though.
So that's why it's so special, And I think that's why it has a lot of value, not just because it comes from us, but because it's customized to your needs, okay?
It comes from the heart.
Thank you, everyone, once again, for the support and love you are showing to us in the Velasquez Vlog Show page. Whether you just watch it, share it, like it, comment it, anything that you do for the page really helps. So once again, we appreciate the love, and we'll stay tuned for next week's episode, okay? You guys have a great day and a great weekend. Stay out of trouble, and stay safe out there, guys. Take care.
Bye.